Tonight, one word sums up the feeling along every line of the supply chain: frustration.
Well, the shortages and delays in the global supply chain threaten a total paralysis.
In an era dominated by global trade and interconnected economies,
there are 77 container vessels waiting in California's San Pedro Bay.
Ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach announcing they'll fine shipping companies.
The shipping industry plays a pivotal role. However, the U.S. has been grappling with a significant shipping crisis that has far-reaching implications for its economy.
One way or another, half the world's merchant marine fleet owes its existence to China.
From disrupted supply chains to rising costs, the crisis has sent shockwaves through businesses and consumers alike. In this video, we'll delve deep into the complexities of the U.S. shipping crisis. We'll explore how the industry has evolved over the years, the challenges posed by ultra-large container ships, and the factors that have contributed to the current turmoil. We'll also examine the consequences of the crisis, including its impact on trade deficits and the broader economy. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of the U.S. shipping crisis and explore potential solutions to this pressing issue. Logistics, nightmares, and challenges. The evolution toward larger container ships has indeed plunged the U.S. shipping industry into a profound logistical crisis.
America's current trade deficit with the rest of the world. But is a multi-billion-dollar trade gap always a bad thing?
These behemoth vessels, while designed for efficiency and capacity, have exposed critical weaknesses in U.S. port infrastructure and global trade routes. The sheer size of these ships has exacerbated existing issues. Ports, particularly in the U.S., are struggling to keep up with the demands of these ultra-large vessels. For instance, outdated port facilities and inadequate infrastructure have led to container losses, undeclared cargo, and navigation challenges. These issues have created a chaotic environment for shipping companies and their stakeholders. Elon Musk's calls for improved government infrastructure highlight a broader concern. U.S. ports have not evolved in tandem with the growing size and complexity of modern container ships. This disconnect has driven many shipping companies to seek alternative ports that can better accommodate their needs. The blockage of the Suez Canal by the Ever Given in March 2021 serves as a stark example of the problems caused by these massive ships. At 400 meters long and 59 meters wide, the Ever Given was one of the largest cargo ships in the world. Its three-day stranding in the Suez Canal resulted in nearly $1 billion in damages and underscored the vulnerabilities in global shipping routes. Although the Suez Canal is a critical artery in global trade, such incidents reveal how the enormous size of these ships can disrupt even the most essential shipping lanes. The U.S. ports, already facing challenges due to their outdated infrastructure, struggle to handle the scale and demands of these large vessels. U.S. ports have not kept pace with the needs of modern shipping. The required infrastructure upgrades, such as larger cranes and expanded dock space, are costly and have stretched port budgets to their limits. Moreover, the expansion of crucial canals like the Panama Canal has its own set of complications. The $5.4 billion expansion project aimed to double the canal's capacity to accommodate larger ships, but it came at a tremendous human cost, with the highest documented fatality rate in construction history. While the canal's expansion was necessary to handle the growing size of ships, it also illustrated the extreme measures taken to address the demands of the shipping industry. Even with these expansions, some ships now bypass traditional routes and ports that cannot accommodate their size. The Suez Canal, for example, has undergone multiple expansions to handle larger vessels, yet it continues to face challenges due to the sheer scale of modern ships. These expansions, while crucial, have not completely resolved the issues, and the growing size of ships continues to strain global shipping infrastructure. Overall, the rapid growth in ship size has created a ripple effect through the global shipping network, revealing and exacerbating vulnerabilities in port infrastructure and maritime logistics. The U.S. ports struggle to adapt, coupled with global geopolitical and environmental challenges, has led to a complex and fragile shipping ecosystem. The ongoing disruptions highlight the urgent need for infrastructure improvements and innovative solutions to manage the evolving demands of international shipping. How global shipping has changed over the years. The recent U.S. congressional hearings on shipping and logistics have highlighted a series of interconnected issues that are disrupting global trade. The focus of these hearings has largely been on the safety and operational challenges faced by the shipping industry, particularly due to heightened risks in regions like the Red Sea. Iranian-backed Houthi rebels have been launching attacks on container ships in this area, leading to a drastic reduction in ship traffic, over 50% in some cases. The ongoing missile and drone strikes have made traditional shipping routes perilous, forcing vessels to seek longer and more secure alternatives. This shift is extending journey times by 10 to 14 days and driving up costs for fuel and insurance. These increased expenses are being passed down the supply chain, affecting retailers and consumers alike. The hearings reveal that the central issue is the strain on existing shipping infrastructure and the routes used by ultra-large container ships. These massive vessels, capable of carrying over 16,000 containers, typically travel from Asian ports to the U.S. via the North Pacific Great Circle route, a direct path that passes through key choke points such as the Straits of Malacca, the Suez Canal, the Gulf of Aden, and the Red Sea. However, the recent security threats and the challenging weather conditions along these routes have forced many ships to take longer alternative paths. This redirection of traffic has had a cascading effect on global trade, as evidenced by the 12% disruption in world trade and the significant reduction in shipping traffic to U.S. ports. As Congress examines these issues, the hearings underscore the urgent need for upgrades to U.S. port infrastructure and improved safety measures for shipping lanes. The scale of ultra-large container ships and the complexity of their routes highlight vulnerabilities in the current system, which was not designed to accommodate such large and demanding vessels. The disruptions and delays caused by these factors are symptomatic of a broader crisis in global logistics, revealing critical gaps that need to be addressed to stabilize and enhance the efficiency of international shipping networks. Ways ultra-large shipping container routes have changed. The upheaval in ultra-large container shipping routes has been a major strain on the U.S. economy, exacerbating trade deficits and causing significant disruptions. The global shipping network is grappling with several complex challenges that are affecting the flow of goods to the U.S. Conflict zones, particularly in regions like the Red Sea and around the Persian Gulf, have forced ships to seek alternative routes. Many vessels are now taking the long and costly route around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa, which can add up to 2 weeks to their journey. These detours not only increase shipping costs, but also shift trade patterns, as containers are offloaded at alternative ports outside the U.S. This shift has contributed to the rarity of ultra-large container ships arriving at U.S. ports, leading to a significant impact on the American economy. The resulting trade deficits and logistical challenges have frustrated major companies, including those led by prominent figures like Elon Musk. The global shipping industry is dominated by 3 major alliances: 2M, Ocean Alliance, and The Alliance. The 2M Alliance, including Maersk Line and Mediterranean Shipping Company, is the largest and covers most global routes, accommodating vessels that can carry between 19,000 and 24,000 standard containers. The Ocean Alliance, comprising COSCO Shipping, CMA CGM, Evergreen Line, and OOCL, covers over 100 ports, with ships that handle around 13,000 containers. The Alliance, including Hapag-Lloyd, HMM, ONE, and YML, completes the triad of major shipping alliances. Historically, shipping innovations began with Panamax ships designed for the original Panama Canal dimensions. As container ships grew larger, surpassing these dimensions, ports worldwide struggled to keep pace. The U.S. once boasted over 20 ports equipped to handle these vessels, but the rapid increase in ship sizes over the past decade has rendered many ports inadequate. The colossal E-class and triple E-class ships, some stretching as wide as 4 football fields and as tall as skyscrapers, have exacerbated the problem. These ships, intended to optimize storage and speed, have instead introduced new logistical challenges. The mismatch between the ship's size and port infrastructure has led to inefficiencies, including wasted space and delays, which are now contributing to economic instability in the U.S. In essence, the shipping industry's evolution toward larger vessels has revealed critical flaws in port infrastructure and global trade logistics. The U.S. ports, struggling to adapt to these massive ships, are facing a logistical nightmare that is destabilizing the economy and complicating international trade. Shipping crisis in the U.S. The U.S. industry relies heavily on ultra-large container ships for importing and exporting goods, a method favored by large corporations and businesses for its efficiency. These ships have been a driving force behind the industry for years. However, recent changes in regulations and unforeseen challenges are causing major disruptions. In 2024, this has led to a crisis where container ships are bypassing U.S. ports, severely impacting the economy and causing trade deficits to soar to unprecedented levels. The shipping crisis is hitting billionaires and tech giants hard, with companies like Tesla, led by Elon Musk, particularly affected. Musk has expressed serious concerns about the situation, emphasizing how detrimental it is and highlighting the urgent need for improvements in infrastructure. His calls for better transportation infrastructure seem prescient now that the shipping crisis has exposed the weaknesses in U.S. infrastructure and foreshadowed an impending economic downturn. So, what's causing the container ships to avoid U.S. ports, and what does this mean for the future of the U.S. economy? Join us as we explore the details of this unfolding crisis and its potential impact. The need to modernize U.S. ports. Modernizing U.S. shipping ports is essential to tackle the current challenges facing the industry. The outdated infrastructure at many ports is struggling to accommodate the massive ultra-large container ships that dominate global trade today. This modernization is not just about updating facilities, it involves a comprehensive approach to transforming how ports operate. Firstly, significant renovations are needed for docks, wharves, and piers to handle these larger vessels. This means reinforcing structures and expanding facilities to prevent delays and boost efficiency. Alongside these physical upgrades, adopting advanced technologies like automated cranes and RFID tracking systems is crucial. Automation will streamline operations, reduce errors, and increase throughput, which is vital given the complexity of managing ultra-large ships. Capacity expansion is another critical area. Many ports have already reached their limits in terms of container storage and berths for ships. Expanding these capacities will help alleviate congestion and improve overall efficiency. Enhanced connectivity between ports and other transportation modes, such as rail, road, and air, is equally important. Improved infrastructure that facilitates seamless movement from ports to inland destinations will reduce congestion and speed up deliveries. Addressing environmental concerns is also a key part of the modernization process. Ports are significant contributors to greenhouse gas emissions and pollution, so integrating greener practices and energy-efficient technologies will help mitigate their environmental impact. Furthermore, substantial and sustained investment is necessary. The U.S. government and private sector must collaborate to fund these upgrades. While there have been discussions and some funding plans, more resources are needed to make substantial progress. Private-public partnerships can be instrumental in bringing additional resources and expertise to the table. Strategic planning is crucial for this modernization effort. A forward-looking approach, considering future growth and technological advancements, will ensure that U.S. ports remain competitive and capable of meeting global shipping demands. By addressing these areas, the U.S. can enhance its port infrastructure, attract more shipping companies, and strengthen the overall supply chain. This modernization will not only benefit businesses but also have a positive impact on consumers, making the U.S. ports more efficient and better integrated into the global trade network. Impact of U.S.-China trade. Dynamics on shipping. Despite numerous calls from experts and industry leaders like Elon Musk for the U.S. to modernize its shipping infrastructure, significant changes seemed elusive until a catalyst emerged: the U.S.-China trade wars. This geopolitical conflict served as a powerful motivator for the U.S. to reconsider and prioritize upgrades to its ports, particularly to accommodate ultra-large container ships. The U.S.-China trade wars illuminated the vulnerabilities and competitive disadvantages of the U.S. shipping infrastructure. As tariffs and trade barriers intensified, it became clear that the U.S. needed a strategic advantage to compete with China effectively. One key area of focus was the capacity and efficiency of American ports. China has invested heavily in its port infrastructure, making it a global hub for ultra-large container vessels. Many of these massive ships, which are crucial for modern trade, have been rerouted to Chinese ports because they can handle the enormous size and volume of these vessels. This situation has created a competitive disadvantage for U.S. ports, which struggle with outdated facilities and infrastructure. To counteract this, the U.S. recognized that upgrading its ports was essential not only for economic competitiveness, but also for securing its position in the global trade network. Modernizing U.S. ports would enable them to handle ultra-large container ships, reduce congestion, and improve efficiency, making them more attractive to shipping companies. However, the challenge extends beyond mere infrastructure. The cost of shipping in the U.S. is a significant factor. Container vessels built in the U.S. are often 6 times more expensive than those constructed in China, making it harder for American ports to compete on price. Additionally, the instability in regions like the Red Sea, affected by ongoing conflicts such as the situation in Yemen, exacerbates the difficulty of securing reliable shipping routes. The U.S. must address these challenges by not only investing in port infrastructure, but also by seeking solutions to improve the safety and efficiency of global shipping routes. While the Red Sea's issues may persist, improving U.S. ports can help mitigate some of the logistical challenges and create a more competitive environment for international shipping. Political instability and global shipping. The fragility of the U.S. shipping and global logistics industries has become glaringly evident in recent years. The collapse of the Port of Baltimore due to a collision with a Singapore-flagged cargo ship deemed the costliest marine disaster in history starkly illustrates the high stakes involved. The incident not only resulted in significant loss of life and infrastructure damage, but also exacerbated the existing crisis in U.S. shipping. This disaster underscored several critical issues. First, the extensive damage to the Port of Baltimore, a major hub handling substantial cargo volumes, highlighted the severe vulnerabilities in U.S. port infrastructure. The port, which processed millions of tons of cargo annually, faces a daunting recovery timeline, potentially extending up to a decade before it fully reopens. The fallout from this incident has led to intense debates over who should bear the financial burden of rebuilding and compensating affected parties, further complicating an already tense situation. The broader implications of such incidents reveal a deeper systemic problem: the inadequacy of U.S. port infrastructure to handle ultra-large container ships. These massive vessels, while designed to maximize efficiency and capacity, have strained ports worldwide. In the U.S., outdated facilities and infrastructure are struggling to accommodate these giants of the sea. The ports, built to handle much smaller ships, are now confronted with the challenge of upgrading their equipment, like towering cranes and expanded dock space, to meet modern shipping demands. Unfortunately, this need for modernization has long been ignored, leaving U.S. ports ill-equipped to manage the size and complexity of today's container ships. The problem is compounded by the global nature of shipping routes. Geopolitical conflicts, such as the attacks by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels on the Red Sea, have further disrupted shipping lanes. These attacks have forced ships to reroute around dangerous areas, adding significant delays and costs. This disruption extends beyond immediate shipping routes, affecting global trade and amplifying the challenges faced by U.S. ports. For example, major shipping companies like MSC have had to redirect vessels to alternative ports in the Middle East, Asia, and Europe due to U.S. ports' inability to handle the large ships, which further impacts U.S. supply chains and increases costs for consumers. The situation reveals a stark contrast between U.S. and international ports. Ports in Asia and Europe, aware of the potential economic downfall from outdated infrastructure, have made substantial investments to modernize and expand their facilities. In contrast, the U.S. has lagged in updating its ports, leading to the current crisis where essential shipping routes are bypassing American shores. This neglect not only affects the efficiency of the ports, but also has broader economic repercussions, with rising costs for goods and delays in supply chains impacting businesses and consumers alike. In summary, the combination of outdated U.S. port infrastructure, increased size of container ships, geopolitical instability, and global logistical disruptions has created a precarious situation for the shipping industry. The fragility of the system is exposed, demonstrating how interconnected and sensitive the global supply chain is to changes and disruptions in one part of the world. As the world continues to globalize and shipping routes become more complex, addressing these vulnerabilities and investing in necessary upgrades are crucial to maintaining the stability and efficiency of global trade. The U.S. shipping crisis requires a comprehensive solution. Modernizing ports, strengthening supply chains, promoting trade partnerships, and addressing geopolitical challenges are crucial steps to overcome this crisis and ensure a sustainable future for the U.S. shipping industry. By taking decisive action, the U.S. can position itself for economic growth and resilience in the global marketplace. What do you think? How can the U.S. best address the shipping crisis? Share your thoughts in the comments below.